Hey y'all, it's time for another video about new makeup releases and all my feelings about them. But before we start, look what the brand Kitsch sent to me. I hope that's a good shot, and I also hope that it looks okay. It's hard with the mirror to see if it's in at a good angle. But the thing that I'm really delighted about is that I was worried that because the metal that these little rhinestones are set in is like a dark color, that it wouldn't look as good in my hair because I don't have like dark brown or black hair. But I actually feel like in reality, you can't really see anything. The effect isn't spoiled, and that was what I was worried about. I was worried that the effect would be spoiled. I just think it's very exciting. And I think that they're doing something where the proceeds go to an organization that supports voter registration or something. So good all around. I love it so much that I'm struggling to decide whether I should keep it or give it to any one of 10 friends who I feel like I want to give it to. I want to give one to everyone that I know. If this is your first time to my channel, my name is Hannah. I love beautiful things, but I don't love overspending. So I try to keep a balance. It's great to celebrate beautiful things, and sometimes it's fun to buy yourself something new, but it's not good to get carried away because, it becomes something that's yucky in a way that overwhelms any benefit that you might have gotten from how much you love beautiful things. And we want our love of beautiful things to remain pure and good in our lives. So I hope you'll subscribe to my channel if that kind of balanced content sounds good to you. I think I already mentioned this is a video about new makeup releases. It's just me looking at things that have come out onto the market and talking about them. Let's go ahead and get into the meat of the video. Oh, okay. Today, no, we are truly going in no particular order. I am disorganized. I just pulled up a bunch of things. Actually, it's not even a bunch. It's a very reasonable number. I feel optimistic about getting through this video in a reasonable space of time and without completely exhausting myself as I sometimes do on these videos. But before I jump into all the other ones I pulled up, I'm going off of Trend Mood, so I'll try to remember to link her Instagram page down below. But something new just popped up as I'm sitting down to film this, and that is the holiday release from Rare Beauty. It's 2 eyeshadow palettes that are all metallic. And I don't really have that much to say about this. I still kind of am curious about a couple of the Rare Beauty products. I actually think the liquid highlight might be the thing I'm the most curious about, but not curious enough to have wanted to do a dedicated review and not curious enough to spend my budget. So that's kind of where I'm at with it still. But it was interesting to watch all the reviews and watch it all unfold. I just didn't get in on the action because I just didn't feel too motivated to do so. And I feel the same way about this. It's they're nice. I actually really love that it's all shimmer, but I also know that people are going to have words to say about that because I know that that's kind of a divisive choice. Some people are going to be like, I can't do it without the mattes, and I really wish Selena had put some mattes in there. For me, it's the thing that I love the most about them is that they're all shimmer palettes because I kind of like what that implies about how one's makeup might look. I'm curious to hear what other people have to say about the formula, but I find these color stories to be a little bit unremarkable. I just feel like the green and blue and peach and brown, it's a little bit like they were focused on individual colors that they wanted to include at the expense of the way that the color story holds together. It really could have gone so many other ways for this release that would have interested me more. And as it is, I'm just kind of all sparkle palette. Okay. It's I'm not even following the future career of those palettes with great interest. And I had been following the future career of Rare Beauty with great interest. Really curious to see what else she'll do, what else she'll come out with. And to me, on my own personal my own personal stuff, what interests me personally, that is very much kind of I feel like I'm never going to think about it again. This, however, the next thing that's come up on my list, this is the quintessential thing that makes me feel all the feelings, makes my heart go pitter patter. I love looking at the imagery. I feel that ooey gooey trickly sensation inside, but I'm not going to buy any of it. And that's the Natasha Denona holiday collection. So let's go through the slides of this Trend Mood post. The first slide has this beautiful highlight, and it's the I Need a Nude highlight. So I just feel like everything that it's selling to me is the stuff that I crave in terms of aesthetics and the promise and the vision of the look. I also love this geometric design on the pan with these like different pale nudes overlapping. And it's like, if ever there was going to be a Natasha Denona single pan highlighter that was for me, then this was it. She's like finally done it. She's always been leaning in really too much to like the pinks, I feel like pinks and golds. She's released a lot of very pink highlighters and a lot of really gold highlighters. And so they've all kind of not been right for me. This is totally right for me. It's just that I have so much liquid highlighter that I really love, and I love liquid highlighters way more than powders. So it would be foolish. I would be buying an idea if I bought this, and I would also be buying the thing that she's done, which is like delivering on a desire I've had that she's never really delivered on before. But it's like, if you don't actually want the product, if you don't think you'll use it more than the stuff that you already have, then why buy it, you know? So I'm happy to see it. It's like a multi-dimensional metallic highlighting powder with a soft focus HD finish, velvety, smooth, universal champagne tone. I'm like, give it to me, Natasha Denona. But I just am not gonna buy it because I just wouldn't use it as much as I use a bunch of other stuff that I already have. And I'm much more in, when it comes to my $42, I care much more about those practical matters than I do about the feelings that it's giving me to look at the images. But I also think that those feelings are enhanced by the feelings I get by looking at these beautiful lipsticks. Look at these colors. Like, I love that. I love these colors. So it says she added 2 additional shades to the I Need a Nude, neutral pink and neutral beige. So they're just like really, really neutral. And they do look a bit on the lighter side, which is good for me. A lot of times really nude ranges, or like ranges that have like a bunch of really neutral colors going from beige to brown, they look so incredibly wonderful and yummy and delicious to me. And then every single one of them reads vampy to some degree on me because I'm just so very pale. So both of these look like they could be kind of more of a mid nude on me. Very delicious feeling, but again, I have plenty of lipstick. So I'm separating out in myself the feeling of like, oh my gosh, it's just for me, or like, oh my gosh, it's checking all my boxes. Like those feelings, those excitable feelings that surround often holiday releases. I'm separating that out from the reality of the decision making and the question of how much I would actually use the thing. And I just know that I just don't need these. I don't need to buy them. So the eyeshadow palette, actually, the mini eyeshadow palette actually isn't in the slides from that post, but I pulled it up from another post. So she's coming out with another the mini Zendo, and I can only assume that once again she's doing what she did with the Glam, which is to release the mini in advance of the full-sized palette. And you know, this doesn't grip me as much as the other 2 pieces of the holiday collection from Natasha Denona do grip me. Again, it's like this icy blue with a peach. So maybe Rare Beauty was kind of like doing something that with this like plum. It's all very beautiful. And I do like the rusty red background of the advertising. I'm curious about what the full-size palette's going to look like, but there's just nothing about this that's making me want to buy it. Okay, so Trend Mood did this like big conglomerate post of different holiday releases, and I pulled it up to talk about because one of them was this like Dior face palette in different colors, one of which seems to have like a very yellow color in it. It's just, they look so beautiful all laid out there in this little piece of advertising. And one of them has like a rich brown in it, and one of them is like very, very pale. And it's like 3 new colors, I guess, when they already had 2. So maybe there are now 5. Is that correct? Yeah, pure gold, rose gold, and copper gold. And it's just, yeah, I mean, I think the rose gold, even though it's got a lot of pinks in there and I don't tend towards that kind of thing, I bet that the actual reality of the powders is that they would suit me very well and go with my skin tone. But I love the copper gold. That's kind of like my ish, you know, like into that. It just looks beautiful. But this is a product I've wanted. Background information if you don't know. This is a product I've wanted since before my no buy year ended. Like the first one came out during my no buy year and I wanted it so badly. And that was like 2 years ago when my no buy year ended. And when it actually launched, it was probably at this point 2 full years ago, right? And it's like, if I haven't bought it for a measly $45, I mean, $45 isn't measly, but it also wouldn't have broken the bank for me in any month of these 2 years of budgeting. If I haven't gone ahead and committed to it now, then I really don't need to consider buying one of these 3 new colors. It's just fun to see them. I really like, I have like a very strong affinity for this product, even though I've never bought it, and I just like it. So nice, cute, like it. Tom Ford came out with a new quad. Tom Ford quad, it's something I've always thought I might end up with someday, but I don't know and I don't care, kind of. Like that's how I feel when they come out with new ones. Tom Ford Soleil Lip Balm, Balm Frost, translucent pink with gold shimmer. I bet that would look absolutely horrendous on me. Charlotte Tilbury Mini Matte Revolution Lipstick Trio. I hate those mini bullet lipsticks. It's like I have been known in the past to declutter one of those mini bullets, even with formulas that I loved and color. Like I loved the actual lipstick itself, but I just couldn't handle that little tiny skinny bullet that breaks off and wiggles around in there. It's so unpleasurable to use. I was decluttering ones that I'd gotten as gifts or as point perks, but I would definitely not go spending $30 on 3 of those little things, which for me have always ended up just being garbage. And then the Pat McGrath, the new big Pat McGrath palette is on this little list, but I'm actually going to pull up like the whole own post about it because I wanted to talk about it separately. Oh yeah, here we go. The Celestial Divinity eyeshadow palette. So I received a little Pat McGrath 6-pan palette from Octoly, and I did a whole video trying Pat McGrath shadows for the first time, and it went so beautifully well for me. Like I loved putting them on. I loved blending them. They were so pretty. But I determined that I didn't think there were any of the like special, even though the shiny shades were really shiny and I really liked the look that I came up with and I've enjoyed playing with it over, the weeks since then. I determined there weren't any of what they call her special shades in there. So at the end of that video, and after having like gotten to know that little palette a little bit, I really felt like a strong interest. I was like, I kind of want to buy or review or ask for as a gift like another one of her palette. Like I was getting these feelings of, I'm so interested in Pat McGrath. Like I love these shadows and I just really want to try the special shades. So I kind of had in the back of my mind, I haven't done a good job lately of spending my channel budget. My YouTube channel technically has its own budget for me to buy something to review about once a month. And it's been lagging a little bit. I think that it's because even though a smart business person does invest money in order to grow the business, and like you have to spend money to make money and all of this stuff, and that was the theory behind that. I think our economic circumstances, like the reality of this year and the way that it's gone down for Joe and me, has made it harder to do that. Like it just made it a little bit harder for me emotionally to spend my channel budget. So it's not that we like truly can't afford it or something. It's just, it takes a little more for me to be like, okay, I'm going to review X. So I've had in the back of my mind, I was like, I wonder what Pat McGrath's going to release for holiday. Maybe that's what I'll spend my channel budget on. So when I saw this previewed and I saw that it was $78, which that would be something I could do, like a dedicated review. My channel could sponsor me to do a dedicated review on it. For a couple of days, like after I found out about it, but before it launched, before it actually was available for sale, I was like, that's it, I'm going to do it. I was like, I'm going to buy this Celestial Divinity palette and I'm going to review it. It would fit perfectly with the fact that I was wanting to try more Pat McGrath and all of this stuff. And I was really going to do it. And I was going to review it. And then I found out that there's no special shades in it. And I was like, well, it would just be a repeat of what I already did, which was to like try the formula, do an eye look, be incredibly delighted by how creamy and how smooth they are and how well they apply and how bright the colors are. But then to be like, but I still haven't had the whole PMG experience because there are no special shades in this palette. So I was like, I don't need to do a dedicated review of this if I kind of already just did a dedicated review, even though it was a whole other palette. So that's kind of where I left it. I do think it's very beautiful, but it's not enough for me as a consumer to be like, I want to spend my own budget on this. Like it's so incredibly mind-blowingly compelling that I'm going to buy it. But just to be clear, in case you haven't, been watching all this time, I am that way with almost all eyeshadow these days because I just feel like, I'm always just building my own little quads out of singles, and my eyeshadow, the collection that I already have, even though it's not gigantic, especially not for a YouTuber, it's gonna last forever. And I don't wear eyeshadow every single day. And so it's really, really a hard sell for me these days, an eyeshadow palette. It would have been an easier sell if it was for my channel budget for review, but because apparently there were no special shades in it, it didn't go forward. But now I'm scrolling through the pictures like these swatches, and the shades do look very special. Am I wrong about that? Are there no special shades in it, or there are? I swear I saw like 1,000 comments being like, oh, there's no special shades, that's why it's only $78. Am I wrong? Okay, let's talk about this release from Nars. This picture to me is so beautiful. I love the colors that Nars chooses. So starting at the top, Shag, love that color. It's kind of like a muted rosy brick. All Yours, are you kidding me? That's like a beige. That is like a beige, like a light beige. That's also a little bit unusual. Then we have Knockout. It's coral, but it's like an orange coral. I Live. Joyride, a little boring for me. Thrust, that is right on my alley. Like if I was gonna pick one, it would be that one. The Chaser looks like it's that lavender, which is fine, but it's not my fave. And then these last four are all beautiful reds, although the darker one, Power Trip, isn't really my thing. But Total Domination, Mad Rush, and Pinup all are. So that means that's 1, 2, 3. So that's like only 3 out of 10 shades that I don't really love. And that means that 7 out of 10 shades, I'm kind of like, yeah, you nailed it. And for me with my tastes, that's very unusual. It's what is usual is for a whole range of lipsticks to be announced, and I look at it and I'm like, I literally don't like a single one of these shades. I don't like the way that they've balanced. I'll look at a bunch of lipsticks and I'll be like, I don't like the way that they've balanced color with neutral in any of these. Or I don't like the way that they've balanced color with like undertone. The tones, it's just, I just feel like so often the tone of every color in a range of lipsticks, the tone is unsophisticated. It doesn't have that little je ne sais quoi. Nars, I feel like, always nails it with that little je ne sais quoi, and this release is no exception. However, this confuses me because it says it's the Air Matte Lip Color, a smooth, light texture. I'm curious about it, not curious enough to go buying one, although maybe this should be my maybe I could do a self-sponsored review of this. Do you guys want to see me review this? Or is there anything else coming up? Like, what do you think? As you can tell, I'm struggling over here to figure out what to choose for my self-sponsored review. There's actually another thing coming up that I kind of considered, but I feel like I missed the boat on it too. Would you be interested in a review of this? Would you be interested in me reviewing this? Like, I don't know. I think it would be for 2 reasons. One, because all of the colors look so good to me. So that's a thing that makes it feel like very me. But also, it says it's an air matte, a smooth, light matte thing, but then in all of these swatches it's shiny, and one can only assume that when the person who swatched these was swatching them, they did them like one and then the other one, but by the time they did all 10, in the time it took them to swatch 10, none of them dried down and became matte. So is this the way that they look, or are they matte? What's going on? I don't know. The packaging is very yummy. I'll follow the future with great interest. Lisa Eldridge. You guys, I wasn't gonna buy any. I really wasn't. The launch came out, people were texting me, and everyone was like, "Wah," and Amy from Amy Loves Makeup was like, have you seen Velvet Affair? It reminds me of you so much, which is really true. It's like the sort of brownie neutral that she came out with in this round. I already have one, the one that I have from last year. I loved this purchase last year. It was something I bought with my budget, and it was like, I just bought the one. I was like, I just bought the one color that I was the most interested in, Velvet Fawn. It is unique to my collection. It's like the perfect middle of the road, balanced nude, and I like the matte texture, and I love the bullet, and I like Lisa Eldridge. And so it was just, it was like such a lovely experience. I just felt like it was good. It's fancy, but it's not too insanely expensive. Like, I feel like there's a huge difference between like I feel like it ended up being something like $30 for me, 26 pounds. There's a huge difference. That's a lot for a lipstick, but it's not $45 or $42. It just feels like right in the middle. So it's just, I had such a good experience, and I have a lot of good feelings around this, not just because of the product itself, but because of the whole decision-making process for spending my budget. So it was interesting when I saw this release, and then Amy was like, Velvet Affair, it's like your perfect color. I was like, yeah, you're totally right. But at the same time, I already have like a brown nude from her, like the one that I have. And I feel like if I were to repeat the process and like do it again and get like one from this release, then if I got that one, it would be like the same color. So I glanced at it and I was kind of like, oh, that would have been the one for me. And then I I was like, we're fine. I'm not going to do it. Beautiful job though. And I really love these velvet cases, and the lip glosses look really beautiful. I had a moment where I was like, maybe I should get a lip gloss and maybe I should get them for review and all of this stuff. But then they started selling out really quickly. And I just didn't feel like urgent enough about it, or like any one product from it was calling to me enough. I didn't feel that enough to like want to be on the ball. And I feel like with this release, if you weren't on the ball, a lot of the stuff sold out. So that was the initial feeling. So fun to like watch her release video and to see what colors she picked, and like see how she talks about them and all of this stuff. See these beautiful little floral velvet bags. So I thought that I was going to leave it there. And then I think it was like a day or two after I had kind of availed myself of all the information and gone through this process and decided not to do a self-sponsored review of this and not to get one for myself, I went back and I bought one. I bought the red one, Velvet Dragon. And it's because I love red lipstick. I do feel like, I mean, it was kind of a cavalier decision for me. It hasn't arrived yet, so I'll probably do a whole video about it, and I'll like compare it to all the rest of my reds, and then we'll find out whether it was not a good choice. If there's too much doubling, like if it just looks the same as all the other reds that I have, then I'll kind of be like, well, maybe it wasn't the best choice. But there is something about that Cinnabar inspired muted red, that sort of soft but not dark muted red that has some orange in it. There is something about that it's like, I feel like I've been looking for it my whole life, sort of. And I think there's a chance that it could kind of be the Tom Ford Wild Ginger of like the next several years of my life. I think for a long time, Tom Ford Wild Ginger was like my red, like my true fiery orange red. It was like my best red, my favorite lipstick in my collection. If I could only keep one, all of this stuff. And I feel like even though it hasn't gone bad on me, I feel like it's slowly just lost that place a little bit. And it's partly because it's actually so shiny. It's actually really like an emollient lipstick, even though it's the satin formula. And for reds, I have really moved towards wanting something that's a little bit stiffer and sticks a little bit better, and it's just like a little bit more bulletproof than that. And not so shiny, so it makes it easier for me to overline a little bit with that red. And this could be that. It could be it, and it could be something that I just end up wearing down to a little nub. That is what I hope for it. I think, I've learned enough to know not to be able to say it's definitely going to be that before I actually try it. But the thought that it might be that was worth me to spend a little bit of my budget on it. So I spent, $33 of my budget, got this lipstick, and it'll be fun to like see how it goes. But I was a little bit surprised at myself. I wasn't planning to. And my first reaction was like, no, I'm not going to do this. There was this kind of like casual feeling around it that I feel like it felt good. Like it felt good that I was kind of like, I kind of do want one. And I'm going to grab this one. And I think it could be really special. And I think I feel like I had the room to behave in that casual way around it because my track record for budget spending over the past several months has been so good in terms of stress and obsessiveness, right? I have been so unstressed and so unobsessive, and I haven't overspent. And so I was like, yeah, I can do this. There's no red flags are going up if I just like decide to just buy this lipstick because I like it. And I also know that I'm not going to then go and do that with like 100 other lipsticks. So I feel like I'm really digging into this one and basically telling you all the stuff that I should be saving for that upcoming video about that lipstick once it arrives. But those are all my feelings about that release, and that's how it went down between me and that release. These Wayne Goss blushes, gosh, I feel like I have nothing to say. Everybody has already said how weird it is that the highlighters and the blushes don't seem to match in terms of who they would be for. I just feel like Wayne Goss is doing a really good job of trying to solidly put out just good makeup, like what he considers to be perfect formulas. He has decided to just deliver these like staple items. He's trying to make like the perfect version of basic staple makeup items. And he set out to do that consciously. Like I'm sure he made the decision to do that. And I'm sure that he knows this, but when you decide to do that, when like that's what you build your brand around, you lose like a certain type of customer maybe, or like there's a certain kind of clout that you don't have with your releases, which is this like edginess, right? Like, so the customer who's looking for something like really fresh, or looking to be surprised and delighted, or looking to like have their paradigm shifted in terms of like what they wear and what colors and all this stuff, or formula, innovation, all of this stuff. Someone who's really looking for that in a makeup purchase, it's going to be a harder sell for that person. And so it's like when you're making these like perfect versions of staple items, you're kind of right on this fence, right? Because you're like kind of balancing on the fence, because for someone to commit to buying that thing, they have to be excited about a staple item. And not everyone is feeling that way these days, especially when the market's kind of super saturated and a lot of beauty lovers already own a lot of stuff. But you can have a really great brand doing that, especially if you knock it out of the park with the formulas and colors. But I think that when you're doing that, when that's your project, as it is for Wayne Goss, if you ever misstep in terms of practicality, because like those are always going to be practical purchases. People are going to be like buying them because it's the best version of a practical thing. If you make an error and along those lines, like if you make a practicality error, as I feel like he did with these color pairings for this blush release, then you like fall off the fence like on the wrong side. And I think that that's kind of what happened with this release, just because I feel like that's what everyone's been saying about them. I don't know myself about them. I have no interest in buying like a split pan of powder blushes, because it's just not my jam these days. Okay, here's another thing. This is the other thing that I was kind of thinking about choosing for my self-sponsored review. And to be honest, I got cowed by the price point, even though it was going to be my channel budget, even though it was going to be my channel buying it. It's the Victoria Beckham lipstick release. I've always wanted to try Victoria Beckham Beauty. Like, I love everything about it. I love the packaging. I love that it's clean beauty. I love the colors. I love the formulas. I mean, the promises of them. I haven't tried them. But my friend Simbri has, and she says the eyeliner is like the best eyeliner she's ever tried. And she loves also the pot product. And you know, I've been like dreaming of Victoria Beckham Beauty since I was a babe in arms. I saw that this was going to launch and I was like, maybe I should make those lipsticks my self-sponsored review. I was going to maybe buy a couple of them, or maybe buy just one and then one or two other things from Victoria Beckham and have it be my self-sponsored review that I was like trying the brand for the first time. I basically had decided to do it. I even told Simbri, I was like, yeah, I'm going to review those lipsticks, blah, blah, blah. And then they came out. I went to the website. I put like, I think just one lipstick, one lip liner. I played around with a couple of different iterations, because here's what happened. I kept putting like 3 things in my cart and then it would be $100. So I'd like put a lipstick in, I would put a lip liner in, and I would be like, okay, that's the new thing, so I'm gonna review that. And then I'd be like, and I definitely want to review this Onyx lid luster, because that I've been talking about it, you know, forever and a day. And then I would be like $100. And like, again, my channel has a budget and I could do it, but it just, my thriftiness kind of got the best of me. And I was just like, man, I don't know, because I'll get it, I'll review it. Then there's a really good chance I'll want to give it away because I already have a lot of lipstick, and then I'll just be like out that $100. And yeah, I would have gotten a video out of it, but it's like in theory the math makes sense, and in theory as a business owner, like the business of my YouTube channel, it made sense, and I should have just pulled the trigger, but I couldn't. I couldn't, and I just listened to myself, and I was like, if you're not feeling it, don't do it. That's me speaking as a person who runs a YouTube channel. Those are all my Hannah on YouTube. Those are all my feelings about it. Hannah as a consumer, just me, my own feelings, my reaction is that these lipsticks look gorgeous and I would love to have one, and I would never spend the money. They're just so expensive. They're like $50 or something. I think they're $42. Okay, they're $38, but that they're effectively $40, which is like, I know I'm a big rounder upper, but like that feels like about $50 to me, and that's half of $100, and it just feels like a bit much. And they look really skinny and small. They don't look like big and beefy like those $50 Tom Ford lipsticks. So I just, especially like now in my life these days, it's interesting. I was so casually able to buy another Lisa Eldridge lipstick down around the $30 price point. And this really, though, technically, okay, this is some really interesting like shopper math psychology. So The Lisa Eldridge lipstick, I think it is actually $33. I think the 26 pounds translates to $33 these days. And so, but I was thinking of it as like $30. This is $38. So that's like only $5 more than the Lisa Eldridge lipstick. But I was thinking of this as like close to $50. I wonder why. I wonder why that is. I like wasn't really looking at the actual numbers. For some reason, I was just feeling like I got sticker shock when I started thinking about buying these even for review. But now that I've talked myself through it, I kind of feel like I was maybe just having like a weird day where I was having a hard time really thinking about buying anything, or I was having like a super stressed out day about money. And looking at them now, I'm kind of like, I'm kind of coming back around, both as a YouTuber and a consumer. So tell me in the comments, is it too late? Would you be interested in seeing me buy, say, like 2 colors of this lipstick and review it? Or 1 color and 1 lip liner and just do one video where like reviewing this lipstick, but I just have 1 lipstick and 1 lip liner. Does that sound like weak sauce to you? Does that sound interesting? Is there even interest in this product? What's going on? How's your life? Tell me about your day. Like, tell me all your feelings. Needless to say, my feelings about this release are many. I got all worked up over it. I think it looks really beautiful. I couldn't decide what to do, and I'm still kind of going around and round about it. So she's done something right. She's gotten me in some way. I'm still following Victoria Beckham Beauty's future career with great interest. Okay, the last thing I just threw, we're basically done because this last thing I just threw in here because I wanted to once again give kudos to Fenty Beauty for calling their mini gloss collection the Glossy Posse, because I think that's so brilliant. You guys know I love like anything that rhymes. Not like stupid rhymes, but just, you know, a clever rhyme like this, the Glossy Posse. It's got my heart. And they are really beautiful. I love the very pale one. I'm not sure which color is which, but like the very, very pale pink. I bet it's Baby Brute. I love that. And I also really love the darker brown one. Yeah, Baby Brute and Cake Shake both look right up my alley. And, you know, in a different life, in a different year, if I were just like in Sephora wandering around buying gifts for people, I could so see myself buying this little Glossy Posse and then like giving 3 of them away and keeping 1 for myself. Like that's so fun. But I feel like online I'm less inclined to do a thing like that. I'm just here to appreciate that it's called the Glossy Posse, appreciate the colors that I like, and then if I want to apply some Fenty lip balm, gloss bomb, I'll just apply the one that I have. And that is it. Those are my feelings about the new makeup releases, at least the ones that I felt like talking about. I hope that you enjoyed watching this video. And as you could probably tell from me bumbling along on like all of these, talking about all of these, I am a little bit at sea right now about the self-sponsored reviews. And I know that many of you are like, you don't have to do reviews. We just like listening to you talk about your feelings, blah, blah, blah. And that's fine. You don't have to go in the comments and like, and say that. Like I do understand that. But I do it because I like really enjoy it and I do think it's healthy for my channel. So I do want to continue to do it. It's just I can't tell whether we're having a dry spell in terms of things that I would really like to review that are like the good fit for me, or if I'm just having a little bit of a like stuttery moment in terms of following through with actually purchasing and reviewing things that would be good choices for my channel. So if you have any suggestions, or you have any thoughts, or if you've been out there kind of being like, I really thought Hannah was going to review X, I would just kind of like to know. Thanks for being here. And don't forget to take extra good care of yourself today so that you can be the most effective version of yourself as you do your work in the world.